Yes, saying some error occurred.
It says live on your screen, so I think we're
Yes,
good.
we are live now. Hello and welcome to this show. I am Neena Dayal, and on this show, we cover topics that are extremely relevant in today's changing world. So, we have a lot of learning while having a lot of fun. And if you haven't followed us so far, please follow us on YouTube and set the bell notification to receive all our future updates. Do follow us on other social media platforms also. My favorite is LinkedIn, as it is the best place for any professional to be on. And that is the reason why today's episode is so very important. We have a very special guest with us tonight, and that is Sam Rathling. She is a LinkedIn expert, a LinkedIn trainer, international author, best-selling author, speaker, and social selling strategist. She is going to help us understand our today's topic better, and that is how to build your sales pipeline on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Simon, very honored to welcome you here because this is a new thing that I'm doing, and I cannot tell you how much of your support means to me. I'm very, very appreciative.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. So, Sam, the first question that comes to me is about creating a sales pipeline on LinkedIn, specifically LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, as I said, is my favorite platform. There is less of noise, less of other activities on LinkedIn, except for very high level of professionalism, which just makes it stand apart. It's a differentiator in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but when we are like new in the field, like I am also just building my sales pipelines, and also kind of starting out,
Uh-huh.
although I have a LinkedIn profile which has been there for a long time but never focused so totally on it. Whenever somebody like me starts thinking about building something
Mm-hmm.
uh, oriented towards sales and marketing,
Yeah.
the first thing that we do is go and purchase a lot of tutorials, a lot of which are in this COVID situation coming up for free also. But
Yeah.
so much of all of this information is kind of overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So, where does one start deciphering everything so that it filters down to something which makes sense to
Mm-hmm.
us and which is really doable, implementable immediately?
So that's a great question. And I'm sure a lot of people that are watching are probably quite new to the platform or only just really discovering LinkedIn as a place to market their business. So the first place that I would always tell someone to start is obviously their LinkedIn profile. Now, before you go tackling your profile, you really have to get clear on who it is you want to target on LinkedIn. So who is your ideal client? And because they're on there, but you can be everything to everyone, but that won't really get you much business on LinkedIn. So
Right.
your profile needs to really focus on exactly who it is you want to help, who your ideal client is, what industries are they in, what kind of job titles are you targeting, whether you're business to business or business to consumer. It doesn't really make a difference. You've got to really make sure that your profile, which is really your shop window to the world, is really credible and really selling you in the right way. So there are 15 different elements of your LinkedIn
Oh,
profile,
all right.
some more important than others, but very few people realize how keyword focused your profile needs to be. Your profile can get you found on search engines such as Google and on LinkedIn itself if it has the right keywords to get you found. And it needs to be very focused on how you help customers and the way that you do business and your story, rather than it being all about you. It needs to be all about the client that you're trying to attract. So step number one, go have a look at your LinkedIn profile and look at it and think, would I become a customer of me today if I landed on that LinkedIn profile? And I think the answer for most people is that they probably wouldn't, and it could do with some work. So that's the first place I would always start.
Okay.
The next thing I would focus on is understanding this whole concept of social selling. So social selling, in my opinion, is the art of selling without selling. The mistake that lots of people make on LinkedIn is that they go too quickly into trying to sell or pitch or promote their products and services rather than going to LinkedIn to get. You should go to LinkedIn to give. And that should be the mindset that you go into LinkedIn with. It's about building relationships. It's about adding value to the people that are in your network. It's about, going there to provide value and help others. And in doing so, you'll position yourself as somebody who is a bit of a go-to person for whatever it is that you're offering. And you can do that through great content. You can do that through great engagement, and you can do it through having an effective profile. One of the things that most people don't really get is that there is actually a metric you can go look at to understand how you're currently performing on LinkedIn. And that's something called the Social Selling Index, which is in short, the SSI score. And if you just go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI, you'll be able to find your LinkedIn score out of 100 points. And this is a really great place to start for anybody that's either new on the platform or for somebody like yourself that's kind of had a profile for a long time, but is only really now starting to build their network and build their presence on LinkedIn. So I'll just give you the link again in case you missed it. It's linkedin.com/sales/SSI. So if you are watching this,
I'll put it in the description later on.
Perfect. But if you're watching this live, pop your SSI score in the comments underneath on the Facebook feed or YouTube, and share your SSI score. I mean, the good thing about the SSI score is that once you know it exists, what gets measured gets done. So you can see how you're currently faring. And the score is made out of 4 different categories. Each one of those categories is worth 25 points on your score. The first one is all to do with establishing your professional brand. Now, what that means is how effective your profile is, but also how consistent and relevant your content is on LinkedIn. So if you want to become the go-to person for a particular topic or subject, then you need to focus on establishing your professional brand and getting that orange score, which is the first bar on your SSI score, as high as possible. The next score out of 25 points is called Find the Right People. So what LinkedIn is looking for you to do is to build a network of people who are relevant to you, who are the right kind of target market for what it is that you offer, and really focus on getting people into your network that LinkedIn deems are the right people for your industry or for your type of business. So that's all to do with filling your pipeline. So you need to be prospecting on LinkedIn, even in lockdown, even in the current times that we're in. You need to be reaching out to people that are in your target market. And you can do this little and often, like a few a day, but it's really important that every day you're inviting new people into your network so that you're building your pipeline for the long term.
Right.
The next piece of your SSI score is called Engage with Insights. Now, that's all to do with how much you're interacting on the newsfeed, so how much you're liking, commenting, sharing, participating in discussions, participating in groups, etc. So how much you are actually active on the platform. Many people have a profile, but they sit back, and I call them LinkedIn lurkers. They're just sitting in the background watching everything happening, but they never actually interact on the newsfeed. And when you interact, you become more visible, you get more inbound requests to connect, you never know who's going to see your engagement, and you never know who's going to reach out. So engagement's really, really important. The next piece is building trusted relationships. So you need to make sure that you're on the platform, but also that you are building effective relationships with those people in your target market. So those 4 things combined make up your score out of 100. And you can see how you're doing by going to check out that link. And that will give you a really good guide as to where you are now and where you need to get to. The magic happens at kind of 75 to 85 points. So don't expect to go there and find a really high score if you're not very active on LinkedIn. The good news is that if your score is quite low today, it doesn't take much to move the needle and to get that score going higher.
That's fantastic information. I'm sure very few of our audiences actually going to know this, right? I mean, if it not doesn't come from a LinkedIn expert, who else can tell us about all that? Yes.
Yeah. So they're I would say profile first, SSI score is another good thing to know about. In terms of what next, I mean, I know you're quite keen for me to talk people through how they kind of go from I'm just starting out to really kind of building. Once you understand who your target market is, you can use LinkedIn to search and filter and actually find people in your target market. So if you were looking to speak to business owners or CEOs or HR directors or IT or operations, it doesn't really matter who you're looking to get to. You can use LinkedIn to find and target and reach out to those particular people. Once you've kind of set your profile up, you now need to go and talk to these people. You really need to start understanding how can I actually start a conversation with these people. And there is an art to that. Unfortunately, most people get it wrong and they connect with somebody and immediately, as soon as somebody's connected back, they send a horrible sales pitch into someone's inbox, and that's really not the way to do LinkedIn very well. I always say when you sell, you will repel, and what you don't want to do is repel people away from you. You want to actually draw them towards you, and that's about becoming that kind of go-to person and having people come towards you because they've seen you consistently on the newsfeed. They've seen you out there helping and advising and giving tips and advice, or they're coming to you because they went looking for what it is that you offer. So I think the key thing is really that your outreach needs to be good, and the worst thing you can do is try and sell somebody without having built that relationship or credibility. And the next piece of the puzzle really is content. So LinkedIn is looking for you to become an original content creator. So what I mean by that is not just sharing other people's posts or sharing other people's articles, but actually you creating your own content. And although there are, nearly 700 million people on LinkedIn, so few of them actually consistently put out content. So the minute that you become a creator of content, you're elevating yourself usually above a lot of your competitors. And if you do content really well, it can drive inbound leads to your business on a consistent basis. Right. It's not a magic wand or a quick fix. It takes time. But if you consistently once or twice a day put something out onto LinkedIn that is helpful, that is not selling, that is engaging, that is creating debate, that is educating, inspiring, etc. There are so many different types of content pieces you could put out there. So I teach 14 different content themes and 8 different types of LinkedIn posts. So you can imagine the combination of 8 different types of posts combined with 14 different themes. You should never be sitting in front of your computer or on your phone going, what am I going to post about? Like, content is everywhere, and it's just about understanding how the LinkedIn algorithm works and what LinkedIn is looking for, but they are looking for you to be an original content creator.
Great. Sam, one small question is coming to me right now. With videos happening so much, is it a good idea to put out text content, or is it a good idea only to put video content out?
I would definitely use variety. So videos are great. There are some underutilized types of posts that people should be using, and people don't tend to know that they're there. So I love document posts, for example, where you can share a PowerPoint slide or a slide deck, or you can share a PDF with kind of tips and advice, etc. LinkedIn's algorithm drives a lot of engagement to document posts, but yet so few people use them. So videos are great. Always make sure you're using captions on a video, just because 85% of people, well, maybe less so at the moment because of the current world situation, but certainly once we get a bit more back to normality, people are not necessarily using audio that much when they are engaging with the newsfeed. So try and get into the habit of captioning your videos. And the other thing as well to bear in mind is that LinkedIn does not like taking people away from LinkedIn, because LinkedIn makes its money by keeping people in LinkedIn. So
Yes.
the mistake I see some people make, I had actually a guy yesterday message me asking me why he wasn't getting any views on his videos. And he's been posting a video a day for 7 weeks, every day, consistently. And I took a look at some of his videos and I saw that he was including a link to his website, or a link to his blog, or a link to his articles, or a link to an external website within the text of his post. And that was massively damaging how many people were seeing his videos, because LinkedIn wasn't giving that post any priority, because the post was taking people away from LinkedIn. Just a small thing like that can make the biggest difference between you getting lots of views on your post and your content and not. And I think the other thing that people don't realize is that when you receive likes and comments and reactions on your posts, it's not just your network that's seeing that, it's the network of the people in your extended network. So what I'm talking about there is not just your first degree connections are seeing your content, it's your second and potentially third degree connections that are seeing your posts. And very few people realize that. And that's why I love LinkedIn so much, because the organic reach, and when I say organic, I mean free, the organic reach you can get on LinkedIn is absolutely outstanding. And, I had a client the other week, he's been on my 3-day masterclass. He got a post that went to 129,000 people within a couple of days. And he's messaged me this week to tell me that he's had 18 new customers in May, which in this current climate, to secure 18 new customers,
absolutely,
a customer for him is a significant deal. And it's all because he's consistently showing up on the newsfeed, consistently documenting his journey, consistently posting and positioning himself as somebody, as a go-to person. And all of that came from inbound leads where he was posting and people came to him. And that's really the way you need to get to. That's almost utopia, is where every day someone's messaging you saying, I want to work with you. How do I work with you?
Yes, absolutely.
You've got it nailed.
Yes, absolutely. What you're saying is just right on target.
Good. What else do you want to know? I'm sure you've got lots of questions.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You were telling us about other types of posts and how to go about so
video posts, document posts. Obviously, you can use just text only. LinkedIn quite likes those. They're not particularly visually appealing, but just using the key thing is really using lots of letters and using all the space that LinkedIn gives you, because the algorithm is looking at how long people are spending on the post, not just what you post. So the longer the post, the better. No links, we've already said that. And just make it interactive. So maybe ask a question on the post so that people respond. But the key thing is not to be despondent, be consistent. So if right now you're not getting the level of engagement that you want, maybe it's because you don't have the right network yet. Maybe it's because you don't have the number of followers that you need yet to get traction. Maybe it's because the content you're putting out there isn't maybe hitting the mark, and you need to look at it and think, well, what could I do to make that post more appealing or more engaging? So one little tip would just be to add a simple question that's easy to answer on the end of a piece of content, because you'll drive responses and questions get answers. So it's quite a nice little tip to put a question on a post, because it will drive lots of engagement. And the more likes, comments, views, etc. that happen, the more the LinkedIn algorithm will pick it up and push it out to more people.
Right. Tell me one more thing. After putting out a long post, is it a good idea to tag some people onto your post?
Only if it's relevant. So I get tagged in a lot of posts, and it does annoy me if it's not one that's like, obviously if you posted about this piece of content, that would be relevant. But because I have such a big following on LinkedIn, quite often people will tag me in a completely non-relevant post, and it actually annoys me when that happens. So only tag people in that are relevant to the post. Or if you want some people in your network to comment on the post, then obviously tag them in the comments and ask them for their thoughts. So tagging people is a good idea. The use of hashtags, no more than 3 on LinkedIn. Some of the other platforms you can get away with a lot more hashtags, but again, LinkedIn will penalize you if you use more than 3 hashtags. 3 to 5, but really the optimum number is 3. And really just think about how you're putting your message out there. Think about building your credibility and how is it going to help you to drive more people towards you. So quite a nice little tip is to just almost like speak to one person. So if you've got a prospect at the moment that you're currently trying to close, maybe just do a piece of content that's directly aimed at them, but without them knowing it. So addressing the challenges or pain points that they brought to you specifically. There are some really good ways to kind of document your journey and almost kind of pull back the curtain on your business so that you let people in and get them to understand who you are. People buy from people at the end of the day. So the more that somebody can get to know you and understand more about how you can help them, the better.
Okay, great. Tell me how a sales pipeline is actually built. We have understood this much.
Sorry, dogs.
No problem, no problem. You want to go and tend to them? I can wait for a moment if that's the case.
No, you're fine. They'll be quiet in a second.
No problem. That's the great part of working from home, and I've been working from home all my life. So it's like this environment is my great comfort zone. So virtual environment.
Yeah, I think they just saw something in the garden. So apologies for the dogs, but this is the world we're in, as you say.
This is the world, and this is going to stay. It's not that. All the industry experts are saying that this is going to stay. So better we get used to this as quickly as possible. World is not going to go back to the normal that we knew so quickly. It's going to take time. So, my question to you is, how do you pitch your product? Is there a very direct way of doing it, or is this through this methodology of putting the posts out and putting your
So if you have products, services, all that kind of stuff, coming back to your LinkedIn profile, there is a section of your LinkedIn profile called the featured section of your profile. And here it's okay to put links. So you can put links to YouTube videos, you can put links to podcasts, you can put links to PDFs or your website or things that you want people to go to. So you might have a sales funnel, for example, where you want people to go to maybe get something for free, where they exchange their email address and then they go into your sales process. All of that can happen directly from your LinkedIn profile. You can do that from a LinkedIn article, for example. So you could write a fantastic article and then drive people to find out more or learn more or go to a particular product or service off the back of that. For me, I like having conversations and sales calls with people. So people can directly book a sales conversation from my LinkedIn profile. And it's a very easy process. And they literally just book directly into my calendar without me necessarily having to speak to them until we get to that sales call. So I typically will get 3 to 5 appointments booked in my diary a week, purely from people seeing my content, finding my profile, and then just deciding that they want to have a conversation with me, and they'll book directly from my LinkedIn profile. So it depends on what you're selling and your next step in the process. But the ultimate goal on LinkedIn is to move people from the online to the offline, which is where you can have those sales conversations. Now, some of that will happen through content. The other way that it will happen is by outreach. And the outreach side of things is where you're messaging people in your target market, looking to move them to the next step in the process, which, of course, for most of you is going to be a sales meeting or a sales call of some kind. Maybe you want them to jump onto a webinar where you sell something at the end. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Every business is different, but ultimately you're trying to take them from LinkedIn into the next part of your sales process.
Right. Okay. So, a lot of people talk about the sales funnel. And there are several products also out there which help one build a good sales funnel. Is there something like that available on the social media platforms also?
There isn't really specifically on the social media platforms, but there are lots of people out there that can help with funnels, etc., things like that. So there are lots of different tools and things that people can buy that will bolt on. there isn't a particular, like, this is the way you do a funnel from LinkedIn, or this is the way you do a funnel from Instagram or Facebook. But ultimately, however you decide to move people, you're going to connect with them and build a relationship online, then you've got to take them somewhere else. So I'm not a major fan of funnels in the traditional marketing sense. I don't believe, I'm very much about personal relationships. And I think if you try and push people into a funnel from a LinkedIn message, it doesn't really go so well, just because, you know,
Yes.
there's the opt-in piece, there's barriers, there's like, I just want to speak to a real human being. People are there for human to human connection, even
Right.
more so right now in the current situation. Like, people are craving that interaction with real human beings.
Absolutely.
So
I think
that,
realizing the importance of that right now, I think
yeah,
more than anything else, is that human to
yeah,
human
exactly. I
is.
mean, I don't believe in sending somebody from here to right now go into my funnel, because I think it's very impersonal. I think you've got to remember, behind every profile is a real person, and it's about having that human to human connection. So if you're watching this right now and we're not connected on LinkedIn, send me a LinkedIn message, and mention that you saw me on Neena's live. And what I'll do with each person is I'm going to either send a voice message back personally, or I'm going to send a personal video back with captions. So
Right.
people don't realize that you can use voice and video messaging on LinkedIn to create that connection and create that human to human connection. So if you're not currently using voice and video on LinkedIn, you're missing a major trick, especially with your existing network and your existing contacts. I mean, why not just drop them a nice voice note to check in on them and see how they're doing, or a nice video message to check in on them and see how they're doing in the current situation. So I think that there are lots of tools and things that, I mean, I spend 3 days teaching this stuff. So there's a lot of information. I have like an online academy with tons of modules that teach all of this. But the thing is that people don't realize how much connection you can get from a LinkedIn message, because so many people are doing the standard sending a text, written text message to somebody. And
Yes.
I think you need to stand out from the crowd more than ever at the moment, because there's been this barrage of people come onto LinkedIn, all trying to market their business and all trying to sell and all trying to prospect because of the situation we're in. And yet so few people are really doing it the right way. So I think because of the human to human connection piece, I think, you can really stand out if you use LinkedIn in the right way to build your relationships.
Fantastic, Sam. I think this is a great nugget of advice, with that instead of pushing people into a sales funnel or pushing people to buy something from you, first go about building a great human to human relationship with them. If they like you, they will eventually get on
Exactly.
to buying from you also at some point in
Yeah.
time. So I think this is just phenomenal
Yeah.
advice. So anything else that you want a seasoned business owner also to come to understand from LinkedIn and other social media platforms? See, I find lesser of selling on LinkedIn and more of selling on other social media platforms like Facebook specifically, and Instagram also.
Yeah.
A lot of pushing of products goes on
Yeah.
over there. So,
And that I think is the key thing to understand. LinkedIn is pull, not push. The other platforms are a lot more push, and people are used to being, at seeing adverts in their feed and, being sold at, like, it's more acceptable on those platforms. But the minute you try and do that on LinkedIn, like, it just puts people off. And that really is what social selling is about. Social selling is building relationships. It's nurturing prospects so that, people aren't necessarily going to be buying your product or service right now, but they will
right.
at some point in the future. And it needs to be you that they think of first when they come to buy whatever it is that you're selling. And that's about, building that credibility, building up trust, getting people to know what you're about and who you are, positioning you as somebody of authority in your space, etc. So there's so many elements of social selling that people get wrong. And I think people are quite impatient, like, they want leads now and they want clients now. But it takes time, building up credibility and trust with a powerful network takes time. And you and I were having a conversation before we even jumped on here about, how long it's taken me to get to where I am now. Well, it's a 10-year process to go from nobody knowing who I was to, and having taught LinkedIn for nearly just over a decade now. now my position and my expertise is at a point where people come to me in abundance. We get 5 to 10 leads a day into our inbox every day, and I don't have to spend money to market my business. People come to me, but that takes time. That hasn't happened like overnight. I didn't just decide 6 weeks ago that I was going to do that. It takes time, and you've got to have the patience, and you need to be super consistent and implement daily, weekly, and monthly habits that are going to help you get the results you want.
Fantastic. That's phenomenal. Absolutely. I think being impatient in today's market specifically is not going to happen. And in any case, if you just push something too hard, it's not really going to happen. But on other social media platforms, as I see, there is too much of advertising. There's too much of just noise. And a lot of people who come to me asking about how to go about doing digital marketing. This is something which is predominantly on everybody's mind, digital marketing. And I come from advertising background, so they think that I would have automatically migrated into digital marketing. So I get those kind of queries quite a lot. We also have some people on our remote team who work on digital marketing, but I for sure know that just putting a product out is not going to get traction and results. That just doesn't work. But this kind of thinking is prevalent, and what people don't realize is that with this kind of thinking, what they are really doing is making the platform rich rather than making themselves rich. So one strategy that I'm consistently seeing, specifically more so in this duration, is a lot of people putting out messages, short videos, even video testimonials, saying that so and so has made so much of money in the last 6 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever. Do you think this can work too, Gary?
They tried the life out of me that time. Sorry, everybody.
No problem, no problem. So do you think this kind of a strategy can actually produce any results? Because the moment I get this kind of a notification from somebody that so-and-so has made so many dollars.
I think it has to be done in the right way. So I believe that social proof, showcasing that your clients are doing a good job because you help them, is a really good strategy. And in fact, it is highly recommended to do that. But in the LinkedIn environment, I would do that through recommendations. So getting people to put out recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. Hang on one second. Okay, hopefully they should be quiet now. So recommendations is a good way to do that. Having customer testimonials on your featured section on your profile is a good way to do that. I don't personally believe in, using that as kind of ads and like, hey, look at this person, I got them rich in 6 weeks. Like, I honestly, like, all of that doesn't really float my boat. But if you've genuinely helped somebody and they're willing to say it, then I think you can do it and you can post it, but in the right way, i.e. social selling. So not saying, hey, this person did this, now buy my stuff. It's, hey, look at this person here. They achieved this, that, and the other. So, for example, the guy I was telling you about earlier on the live, I'm about to do a post on LinkedIn about his success, but it won't end with, oh, by the way, come and book my courses or come and join my online academy or come and do this. It won't have any element of push on it. It will just be showcasing the excellent work that he's done and the amazing social proof that he's out there killing it off the back of what I taught him. So I think there are ways to do that and leverage your customer successes without A, it coming across as bragging, and B, using it to push people into buying something.
Okay, great. Done in that way. Tell me a little bit more about affiliate marketing links. I've seen a lot of people putting out a lot of affiliate marketing links.
Oh yeah, I'm just honestly, like, I'm not an affiliate marketing expert. It's not my thing. I've never really seen the point of it. I've never known anyone to be successful with it. So I'm not the biggest fan of affiliate marketing. As I said, I hardly do any marketing at all because it all comes inbound. And that's what I teach, right? If you do LinkedIn well and social media well even, or social selling as a whole well, you get people coming to you in abundance. So why would you need to do affiliate marketing? Why would you need to do lots of different digital marketing or spend a fortune on Facebook ads or whatever it might be? Because when you position yourself in the right way, people will come to you because you're the expert, because you're the person that they've seen, because you're the brand that they associate with, and that they'd like to be a part of that world. So I think I'm not really the best person to speak about affiliate marketing. And to be fair, like the other social media channels, I focus all my attention on LinkedIn. Am I on all the other channels? Of course I'm on them. I hardly ever go live on Facebook, which I know I should do. But I genuinely believe that you can do social selling right on all the platforms. And in fact, I work with the UK's top Instagram expert. I work with the top UK YouTube strategist. I work with, the top TikTok expert in the UK. So I have this whole network of people that if someone comes to me and says, I need your help with something else, I tend to collaborate and work around with people that are like me, but in the other channels. That actually will probably be really great guests for you as well. But the key thing is that, I think you've got to not try and spread yourself too thin. Like pick a couple of strategies and just stick with them and go all in on them, because I think people can spread themselves too thin, especially if they're new in business or they're trying to wear all the hats in their business. And yes. I see people trying to master LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and they're trying to do everything across all social media. But yet they don't become an expert in any of them, and they don't learn all of them because they're just too thinly spread. So I think pick one or two and go where your target market is. And for
Absolutely.
most people, that's LinkedIn.
Yes. LinkedIn, for me, it is LinkedIn and YouTube. I am just leveraging my LinkedIn connections and building this channel so that at least the visibility gets high, and we build better content. I'm focused totally on building better content. So that's how LinkedIn sales funnel or sales pipeline will eventually work, perhaps. So Sam, a few more SSI indices or metrics. Can you just tell us a little bit more about?
So outside of the SSI or the social selling index, there's a couple of other metrics you can look at. So one would be your profile views. So when you go to your profile, you'll see something called your dashboard. It's personal to you, no one else can see it, but you'll look at you'll be able to see how many people have visited my profile in the last 90 days. So that's almost like having Google Analytics for your LinkedIn page. And you need to see your LinkedIn page as a web page. Like you've got to optimize it and have the right keywords and think about, when someone visits it, what do you want them to do? And the other thing is search appearances. So you'll be able to see how many times are you showing up in people's search appearances and for what keywords. So it's really important that you understand the other metrics that you need to look at. So SSI score, even on the SSI, there's other things like your industry ranking, how you compare to your competition, how you compare to your network, etc. So there's lots of different ways you can track and measure your success. And LinkedIn does give you all of those metrics. You get more analytics on the company pages. But if you are somebody that's kind of a smaller business and you're kind of the face of the business, you're better off building your brand on your personal profile on LinkedIn versus your company page. But there are a lot of analytics on the company page. I do recommend having a company page, but put more energy and effort into your personal profile and building your personal brand than you would do on your company page.
All right, great. That's been just phenomenal advice to us, Sam. If you want to add something to it, because I'm out of my questions. My main questions were about.
No worries.
Content.
I guess the key thing, I do lots of these lives and interviews, and people are always like, how do I get hold of you? Or how do I learn more? Because, hopefully I've given some value and content. So the first thing obviously would be to reach out to me on LinkedIn. So if we're not connected there, add me on LinkedIn and mention this live with Neena so that I know where you came from. So that will be the first thing. I have a book called LinkedIn Bound, which if you guys haven't had a copy of or haven't seen.
Tell us a little bit more about LinkedIn Bound. That's really wonderful. I have not read the book as yet, but I would love to purchase it.
LinkedIn Bound is my book. It's got 8 social selling strategies in there. So it's 16 chapters, and it basically talks through the different the framework that I've developed on how to get business from the LinkedIn platform. It's got something like 60 odd 5-star reviews on Amazon. So and it's available in India. So if you're watching over there, then you can, of course.
Is it available on Kindle also? Is it just a hard copy?
Yeah, it's on Kindle and it's in paperback as well. So you can grab a Kindle version. A lot of people buy the Kindle and then they buy the paper book afterwards because they want to make notes. It's written in a very practical way. So it's kind of 15 years of my knowledge in a book. So every chapter has kind of 4 or 5 key actions at the end of each one. So it's written in a really, okay, here's the theory, now go do this. So it's kind of very practical. Okay. And I recently launched something called the LinkedIn or Linked Out Academy, which is an online learning platform. So if you're kind of want to take your knowledge of LinkedIn and social selling to the next level, you can just go visit LinkedIn or linkedout.com and you can get access to the academy. There's like 20 odd modules in there of me just teaching everything that's in my brain about LinkedIn. And it's kind of like an online support group community and group coaching from me as well. So those are kind of some good ways to kind of take the next step. If you are looking,
I'll take it immediately. I'll first of all, I'll go and buy your book, and I'll check out your LinkedIn. LinkedIn
or Linked Out Academy.
do send me a link
in the comments anyway, so you guys can get access to
it. Send me a link. I'll try and put it in the description
will do.
also. So it's been really phenomenal, Sam, to have you here to learn so many things. I think this is a bundle of information already. If somebody can put their attention to all of this, this is going to definitely take them forward. I am one person who's going to take in everything. You know me now. I am all the hard work.
I think you're going to be a star student, actually, Neena.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's been wonderful having you here.
It's been my pleasure.
Just stay with me for a few more minutes. I'll end the broadcast and we'll chit chat for a few more minutes. Thank you so much, and thank you for everybody who has been seeing this live and who will eventually see this later on. Thank you so much for being here. And Sam, my personal thanks to you for accepting the invite and giving us so much of information, the world of information in this absolutely phenomenal episode.
You're more than